Hey y'all, welcome back to Convos with Bree. I'm Bree, BREE, and today is day 52 of the Visibility Challenge. And I have the second blog up on convoswithbree.com. And today's blog is called Boxes. Today I wrote all about fitting into the black and white, fitting into a box, all of the things that once upon a time ago felt so important. I have always hated arguing because people that argue, they're never trying to build a bridge. They're trying to be right. They're trying to prove a point. And to me, it has always been so much more important to find a middle ground, to ask questions, to understand. And I feel that in arguing, all that ever does is says, I am right and you are wrong. But as somebody who has always been able to see so many different truths in a situation, so many things can be true at one time. I can be right and you can be right. I can be wrong and you can be wrong. We can both be a little bit of both. We can both need expansion. We can both have points. But arguing never seems to be about coming together. It's always about showing somebody where they're wrong. And it really wasn't until Marco and I started doing this thing when we would argue, where we would listen for language. We would listen for language that said, I am hyper focused on what you are doing, or you are hyper focused on what I am doing. That looks a lot like, if you would, you made me feel. Anytime we're saying you at the other one, no bueno. That is where we knew we needed to pump the brakes, take a beat, and look at our own selves. What are we currently doing that we can change? What are we currently doing that is not correct or that can be expanded on? What can we say differently? All of these things. And at first, it was really trying for me because it was trying for both of us, but I can only speak for my experience. For me, it was very tough because I honestly felt like the solution existed in his behavior change. I genuinely felt like he was doing the thing that needed to be changed. So we were arguing because I was arguing to be right. I was arguing to get my point across about how much he had hurt me or how much his words or tone or blah, 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 whatever was the thing that needed to change. But then I was missing everything that I needed to change. And I started seeing that when I was yelling about his tone, maybe my tone wasn't bad at first, but it certainly was now. Maybe he was the one that was being short with me or whatever it was, in a bad mood, whatever it was. But now here I was responding in the same way that I didn't want him to be. And the longer I stayed focused on what he needed to do differently, the longer I missed my own part. The longer I missed where I was being held back. And then I was able to start to see where I responded this way in a lot of areas in my life with other people and with other situations that didn't look anything like this one that we were currently in. I started to understand more deeply that the more obvious somebody else's behavior was incorrect, the more obvious it was to me in the moment that I was missing my own lesson. I was easily being influenced by the thing that was keeping me from evolving more deeply into my own world, into my own place of depth and growth. If somebody is arguing about an issue that to you seems crystal clear, arguing back with them will drive them deeper into their beliefs. You're leaving no room for expansion, for growth, for building a bridge. And honestly, in those moments, everyone is wasting their breath. Nobody is talking to anyone in an open way or creating an open space. Nobody is creating safety. We are simply yelling at each other. And that's honestly only going to drive more of a wedge, more anger, more frustration, more of these low level frequencies. If you truly want to be able to have these conversations, to change things, to do things about it, you have to be willing to see their side as well. So when Marco would be defending his actions, it would make me very angry. But I started to understand I wasn't giving him another choice but to be defensive because of the way that I was responding and reacting to what I viewed as the trigger. But what ended up happening surprised me so deeply. I never saw it coming. Instead of there being black and white, right and wrong, boxes to check, it wasn't that at all. He would be in a bad mood. I'm going to use a very basic example here. And his tone was bad. His words were bad. The energy was bad. I could feel all of it. And then he would try to tell me that he wasn't. He wasn't in a bad mood. I was just taking it wrong. And the more that I didn't get the response that I wanted or needed, which was the truth, what was really happening, the more I started to defend against him. The more that my nervous system felt like I was under attack, the more that we started to create this place of just total unalignment within. And neither one of us wanted to be arguing. Neither one of us wanted our night to be going like that. But we couldn't get back on track because I couldn't allow my nervous system to relax. And he couldn't be truthful with me because he didn't quite understand what was going on. He didn't feel like he was trying to hurt me or like he was doing anything wrong. So when I stopped reacting, when I stopped focusing on what he needed to do differently or how he was ruining his night or how his mood was creating all of this, I stopped saying you and I started thinking about what I could do differently. And I started changing my own reaction and I turned off my defense. I reminded myself, this man is my best friend. This man is my person. This man loves me all the way through. And I started being softer. I would hug him. I would kiss him. I would hold his hands. I would lightly rub on his skin or on his hair, on his ears. And I would just look at him and I would love on him. And I would just hold him. And then something would break. Something within him broke open. And then we were able to talk about the stress he was carrying, about the fears he was feeling, things that had nothing to do with us. It was just life. It was worry. It was other people. It was his own battles that he was struggling to deal with. And they were coming out that way because I am his safest space. And he was resisting his vulnerability. And he was just trying to push through like he had been all day. And then things started changing. Then we were able to have real conversations. Then we were able to relax. And that's when we stopped fitting into a box. Nothing was black or white anymore, except for the fact that we love each other and that we're never trying to hurt each other. And I started taking this to every conversation that I entered. I started being more quiet in those moments. And I started listening more deeply. And I started looking for the real internal struggle rather than searching for why I needed to be defensive. I was no longer looking for the attack on me. I was looking for the attack on them. So many of us are completely on the wrong page when we argue. And most of the arguments are completely unnecessary. Life is truly meant to be lived with color, with fun, with understanding, with patience, with empathy, kindness, gratitude, love, real love, not this weird controlling love that people learned. I mean, real, deep, I love you all the way through love. You can show up as your truest self, love. And that all leads to enlightenment and peace and everything we're searching for. But it truly does start within. And the more that we think somebody else needs to change, the more there is a lesson for you to find. The more growth there is, the deeper your expansion is. It truly all starts within, and how you think, how you respond, how you react, what you do with the opportunities that life gives you to be a better human. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, nothing meant for you will miss you. Be here now. And if you want a little bit of a deeper expansion, if you are struggling and you want to book a convo, you want to check out the reflections on the blog, anything, convoswithbree.com is where you can find all of it. All right, y'all. Let's have a beautiful day.